Hey fam, glad you tapped in, because what's unraveling in Dolton, Illinois, it's straight up political theater with a front row seat to betrayal, scandal, downfall, and even a comeback twist nobody had on their bingo card. Buckle up, because the story, it doesn't just have layers, it's got drama baked into every single one. Let's rewind the clock back to May 2021. That night, Dolton made history. A small, majority-black town stood together and elected Tiffany Henyard as mayor, the very first young black woman ever to claim that position. She came in blazing with promises, empowerment, reform, and the kind of leadership people had been begging for decades to see. The community rallied. They believed. They prayed she'd finally be the one to flip the script. But hope has an expiration date, and in Dolton, that date came sooner than anyone expected. Instead of cleaning house, Tiffany became the mess herself. Headlines exploded with accusations, claims that she was burning through taxpayer money like it was her own private account. We're talking hair bundles, candles, sandals, even pots and pans. While families fought to make ends meet, Tiffany allegedly turned City Hall into her personal shopping spree. And if you dare to question her, she didn't just clap back. She waged war. Town meetings morphed into battlegrounds. Cameras caught her barking at critics, most of them black residents, simply asking for accountability. "Y'all should be ashamed," she snapped. "Y'all black and sitting here attacking a black woman that's empowered." But yelling couldn't cover the truth. It only poured fuel on the fire. Investigations followed. Protests roared louder. The walls closed in until something finally broke. Dolton pulled the plug. The people swapped leaders and voted in a new mayor, Jason House. And trust me, this wasn't some sleepy oath-taking. City Hall overflowed. Folks crowded the steps outside just to witness the moment. The energy? Electric. When Jason House put his hand on the Bible and vowed to serve with honesty and integrity, the crowd erupted like history itself had cracked open. One resident whispered, "This ain't just a mayor, this is history." And they weren't exaggerating. Dolton's message is transformed into a national headline. Now, with Jason House steering the ship, the mission couldn't be clearer. Restore trust, bring back transparency, and clean up the wreckage Tiffany left behind. And if the crowd's thunderous support was any sign, Dolton's people are hungry for a fresh start. Meanwhile, Tiffany's vanished into Facebook land. No apologies, no explanations. Just filtered selfies and motivational quotes, like none of this ever unfolded. The same woman who once pulled in a jaw-dropping $347,000 a year, more than the governor of Illinois, is now pulling in nothing. No paycheck, no perks, no power. And rumor has it, she didn't even stack any of that money. Here's the brutal truth. When you chase clout instead of purpose, the clock runs out. And when it does, if you didn't lead with honesty, you're left empty-handed. No loyalty, no legacy, just silence where the cheers used to be. But this story, it's bigger than Tiffany. It's about what happens when leadership crumbles, and what happens when a community finally wakes up. Dolton's wide awake now, and one thing's for sure, they're not going back to sleep. While Tiffany hogged the spotlight, others kept grinding in the shadows. Names like Edward Steve, names like Jason House. They weren't chasing likes. They weren't staging photo ops. They were putting in the work, for love of community, not love of applause. And here's the kicker. Jason House never even wanted the mayor's seat at first. For years back, he had the chance. He said no. Why? Because his service was never about cameras or headlines. It was about showing up, giving back, expecting nothing in return. But when scandals stacked up and Dolton's breaking point came, Jason finally rose and said, "Enough." And when he stood up, the people rose with him. Dolton doesn't just owe Jason House applause. They owe him deep respect. Because true leadership doesn't show up in designer threads with a media crew trailing behind. Sometimes it slips in quietly, rolls up its sleeves, and simply does the work. Sure, Tiffany's defenders are still out here crying foul. They say they just didn't want to see a black woman win. But let's keep it 100. That argument's tired. It misses the point entirely. Because identity alone doesn't keep you in office. Integrity does. Yes, Being a black woman, a black man, a single parent, that's powerful. Identity matters. It inspires. It writes history. But let's be real. Identity alone won't hold the seat. What does? Discipline, integrity, the strength to show up day after day for the people who trusted you enough to put you there. Because at the end of the day, the job has to get done. And in towns like Dolton, Atlanta, Jackson, Montgomery, places built on black culture and legacy, being black isn't a disadvantage, it's an advantage. These communities are overflowing with pride and power. But once you're in that chair, it's not about the image anymore. It's about the work you actually do with the power in your hands. I'm from Sacramento. And out here, unless you're in LA or Oakland, climbing that ladder, it's no walk in the park. That's why so many of us look to cities like Detroit or Atlanta, places where black leadership stamped real history. But here's the twist. Those dreams only work when the people we elect stop chasing clout and actually put in the work. Too many times, folks rise up, then fall flat. They stop serving and start performing. Followers on Instagram matter more than following up with the community. And when that happens, who pays the price? The people. Always the people. Leadership isn't a hustle. It isn't a side gig. It's a responsibility. If the people trust you with power, you honor that. You don't flex. You serve. If we don't get serious, we'll stay stuck, watching neighborhoods crumble while leaders fight for the spotlight. And don't get it twisted. This ain't just about Tiffany Henyard. This is about leadership, real leadership. When you get handed that chance, you've got two options: lift your people or lift yourself. That choice is the difference between service and betrayal. Look at Dolton. That whole saga, it's a warning sign for every block, every city, every district with dreams of change. When you give someone power, watch closely how they use it. Because if they abuse it, if they twist it, if they chase likes instead of progress, they'll end up like Tiffany. Title gone. Respect gone. Legacy erased. What's left? Selfies nobody remembers. But leadership done right, that's different. When you stay grounded, when you stay humble, it can bless you, elevate you, cement your name, let you walk away proud. But the moment you think you're untouchable, that's when it all collapses. Money gone, platform gone, followers gone, just like that. And speaking of collapse, let's bring up Kamal Woods. Yeah, that Kamal. The married man who slid into Tiffany's world back when the money flowed. The trips looked sweet, and the press still loved her. Back when shine was everywhere and loyalty seemed easy. But now that the spotlight's dim and the money's tight, you think he's sticking around for stress and reheated leftovers? Please, his exit plan's already written. Because the truth is, he was never there for her. He was there for the perks, the clout, the ride. And when the ride ends, so does the loyalty. Tiffany's not just out of office. She's out of allies, out of leverage, out of time. And yeah, it stings, but it's the crash she built with her own hands. That's the cost of treating leadership like a hustle instead of a calling.